Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's BDF44 coming at you with another video. All right, so just saw a quote that Russell Westbrook put up talking about the new rule changes in basketball. You know, they got rules. Basically, they're trying to adjust how fouls are drawn, just certain things that players are able to do that allow people to, just allow them to kind of just get fouls that maybe shouldn't necessarily be called, but in the confines of the rules, they're able to do it. So you got players in this league who've effectively mastered that, and they use it as their strategy. And of course, we see it translate to a lot of free throws and things like that. So I think the NBA is trying to cut that back and try to do something about it, and et cetera, et cetera. So Russie was responding to that particular rule where players are getting run at as they're trying getting closed out on. When you're trying to shoot a three-point shot, people are rushing at you to close out on you, things like that. You kind of kick your feet forward and draw the foul that way. He's saying ain't nobody rushing it in because essentially he can't shoot. My thing was, I laughed a little bit, but I'm like, I don't want, and this is it's kind of weird, because I know for a fact that if he has a lot of confidence in shooting, it may translate to maybe some shots not being taken shots being taken that should not be taken. So my thing is, I don't really want Russell to feel that way about his shooting, because I think that translates to failure when your confidence is shot about your shot. That's all. You've already started off wrong. You know what I mean? Mechanics can do a lot of things for you from what they say, but it's nothing like having confidence and your mechanics in place. And it's all about the mentality for a lot of guys. I listen to shooters and people talk about, how they shoot. It's a lot of it has to do with confidence. A lot of it has to do with form. So Russie's been in this league for a very long time. He's been working on his form for a very long time. So when he shoots poorly, one would have to think when it does fall, it looks great. So when it doesn't fall, what's the difference? And the only thing that anyone's able to explain to someone like myself who don't play is that there's a confidence thing there. So what do I know, right? All I'm here to say is I don't feel right hearing athletes kind of go along with the joke as it pertains to what they cannot do when I've seen them do it, even though they struggle with it consistently. It's that kind of thing, because I think the struggling comes from the lack of confidence. And I don't think that I'm in any position to talk about his mental state or know where he's coming from or nothing. I just look at signs that I apply everywhere else when I see confidence kind of shaken and results being that of somewhat inconsistency. And the constant there is sometimes confidence. So, yeah, for whatever that's worth, it made me think that maybe there's something to say there. That's all. But at the end of the day, when a guy like Russell Westbrook is confident, he may do much more than he should. So maybe that's how it's supposed to go, or maybe. But just listening to him say that, and then knowing that young players are listening, possibly some young players who don't shoot well, maybe that'll make them feel something like, ain't nobody rushing to Russell Westbrook, ain't nobody rushing at me, And it's more so like, I want to make people rush at me. I'm trying to get so good at shooting the three that you rushing at me. And even though I'm shooting 30%, I believe that because my form is what it is, that if y'all don't rush at me, I'm knocking it down. And every time I take an open shot, I'm going to remember that y'all ain't rushing at me and I'm knocking it down. And that type of confidence, that type of determination, that type of, belief in yourself, I think can will you toward having a little more balance when taking those threes. Because at the end of the day, if you're taking as many reps as you do and your form is right, that there should be muscle memory at that point, unless you're either affected by the defense, not taking the shot properly, not going through the motions of what it is you've practiced, or you're just not taking enough reps in general from day to day to day with the right form. And you get that muscle memory going, it ain't no question of whether or not you're going to shoot up to par. It's just a matter of whether or not you're going to follow through with what your muscles have always done, and if your muscles are going to respond or not. You know, and a guy like Russell Westbrook doesn't have any muscle issues, to say the least. So what comes to mind is either there's form issue, confidence issue, combination of both, or it's just some other variable that I'm not able to understand. But and I've listened to athletes. That's what I do. And when they say what it is for shooting, it's confidence a lot of the times if it's not mechanical. So that's what it is. Or just not enough reps, as I said. You know, you gotta work at it. And two, how early do you start at whatever it is you're good at? You know, a guy like Russell Westbrook, I'm sure he didn't spend as much time shooting as, say, a shooter, because of what he was that he was good at. He was, you know, making sure that he was perfected what it is that his game was really predicated on. But I think as you get older, I'm looking at players like Dwight Howard, who are really truly incorporating the three-point shot into their regular routines and have been for years. He couldn't shoot at all, you know. And I saw him on the press conference too, talking about his shooting. You know, he it's a confidence thing. He put his head down and said he could shoot. You know what I mean? He didn't, when in the press conference when he said I could shoot, he had his head down, and I was like, you know what? He's working on the confidence. That's what that is. You know, there was a long time period where he didn't believe he could shoot, but now he could say that he could shoot. Maybe not with his head high just yet, but the point is he's putting in the work, and he's not going to allow himself to psych himself out to say what it is that he cannot do. And I admired that. You know what I mean? And this wasn't years ago. This was last week. You know what I mean? But I've seen Dwight Howard hit shots in practice. I've seen a lot of these guys who can't shoot, quote unquote, hit shots. Ben Simmons, obviously, we've seen the footage. The shots are going up. It's just a matter of how many are you taking, and do you believe they're going in when you take them? You know what I mean? Especially when the pressure's on. Are you going to allow yourself to trust your memory? Trust your muscle memory, rather. You know, something that I always say. I'm a guy who likes to put playlists together and music and stuff like that, and I listen to blends of songs and try to make sure that they flow correctly. And you know, I've been working at it for a while, so I have my own little art form for it, right? Want to follow me? It's BDF Apple Music. But the point is, you know, in doing so, I always say when I'm working and I'm doing that particular thing, I always say trust my talent. And what that means to me is, if I'm not sure about whether or not I'm happy with what I've done, let it go. You're confident in the fact that you've done the reps. I've made thousands of playlists over the years. I know what my style of sound is. I know what I like to do. And sometimes when you're unsure whether the song isn't quite up to par or whether or not you feel good about the blend, you know for a fact that because you've done it so much that you can trust the talent. That even though in the moment as you're putting it together, you may not be certain if it's right, when you go back and listen to it together in the, you know, as it's supposed to be listened to, most of the time I'm more confident that I had it right in the moment, and that there was no reason to be swaying back and forth of whether or not I've made the right decision or should be confident in what I'm doing. So that's what I can liken it to. That's my art form. So, you know, trust the talent is what I tell these guys, these shooters. You know, if you've done the reps, trust the talent. Don't worry about anything, because doubt is just going to make it so that your muscles are disrupted by that stress. But you let all that go. You believe in what you're doing. Hey, you can get as good as your body will allow you to get. Now, I'm not going to say you're going to turn into Steph Curry or nothing like that, because a lot of what they are able to do is based on how their bodies are shaped and how they were born to do what it is that they do. But as far as if you do something enough and you figure out what works for you, your muscles will help you be able to duplicate that if you do enough reps. It is what it is. So I just encourage Rusty to keep working on his three. Make it so that you're taking the threes, making the threes that punish those who ain't rushing at you, and make sure that before you retire, you see more people coming at you with more urgency when you're shooting that three. That should be the only way to approach that seed of doubt, if that's what that is, telling you that you should be okay and accepting that and kind of laugh that off. Nah, not when you're a Hall of Famer in first ballot and got better stats than everybody else and have hit so many threes in his career, even though he's missed quite a bit. No, you just want to get better, especially in this situation. And better doesn't mean more. Better means quality, I guess. So, yeah, that's what I think, man. That's what I think. I'm no athlete. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to sit up here and tell people that my experiences and what it is that I'm about can help them there necessarily. But when you study as much as I do, have this many years on earth, you can kind of just figure out some things, and what I've relied upon is the opinions of the athletes and experiences of them when they talk. So yeah, trust the muscle memory, man. Don't let your confidence be swayed to have no belief in your ability to force these fools to run at you. That's what I would say. They gonna have to come at you because you're gonna hit them open shots. Anyway, that's what I got, man. Of course, today is so much that could take place in regards to the NBA, because I think right now we're getting very, very close to actually seeing something happen with Ben Simmons. I will say that. So I'm expecting to talk about that even more, because I think he might be close to being on the move. I don't think he's gonna play there, but he's back in the building, and that tells me that he's willing to play ball with them. And that's all I've really been saying on this channel in regards to that. Just play ball with them. They may be on the other end of what it is that you talking about, but not as it pertains to what it is you're trying to accomplish. Work with the organization, and they will facilitate what you both want, which is to move on. So the fans are ready to move on. I think the brass, Philadelphia brass, knows that. So it is what it is. So yeah, I guess I'll be talking about that at some point as well. But yeah, thank you guys. Again, yesterday was a heck of a day for me, but you know, putting up all those videos made me feel a lot better, and knowing that you guys are on the end paying attention to that really made me feel good. So I'm thankful for all of the support that I've been getting from each and every person. And it doesn't matter how many, it's just that you're there. That's good enough for me. And as we continue to grow this channel, it'll be more used, and I'm cool with that too. So thank you for helping me. My name is BDO44. Thank you for watching. I'm out.